They say isolation can be healing, that solitude, far from the noise of cities, can reset the soul. Ethan Morris believed that. After the death of his sister in a car crash he still blamed himself for, he took an unpaid leave from work and searched for silence. What he found instead was something far more terrifying. It started with a listing on an obscure website. Rustwood Cabin. Total privacy. No Wi-Fi. No phone signal. Just you and the trees. The listing had no reviews, and the images were dated. Still, Ethan booked it. The cabin was a 6-hour drive from Sydney, near an abandoned lumber village called Tallow's End, a ghost town swallowed by eucalyptus forests and mountain fog. Ethan had never heard of it, but the idea of isolation thrilled him. He arrived just before sunset. The road ended in gravel, then dirt. His tires crackled across dry leaves as he parked before a structure that looked older than it should have been. A 2-story wooden cabin. Vines crawling up one side, the windows clouded and yellowed with age. He stepped out, and the silence, it hit him like a wave. No cars, no humming lights, no distant chatter. Just wind through the trees and something else, something he couldn't place, a rhythm, like breathing, not his own. Inside, the air was musty. The floorboards creaked under each step as though they resented movement. Dust clung to the corners like cobwebs, but everything seemed in order. A fireplace, a sofa with a heavy blanket, and a staircase leading upward. The bedroom had a single bed with crisp white sheets. A lamp flickered once when plugged in. The bathroom mirror was cracked, nothing unusual for a place this remote. Ethan unpacked and sat near the fireplace, lighting a match and tossing it into the logs. Flames danced slowly. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. But the moment his mind began to settle, there it was again. A soft crunch. Leaves. Outside. Footsteps. Ethan froze. He turned off the lamp. Shadows stretched like claws across the walls. He stepped toward the window, pulling back the curtain just an inch. The porch was empty. The trees, still. Probably a kangaroo or a dingo. He told himself that. Still, he locked the door. Midnight came. Sleep wouldn't. Ethan lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Then came the second sound. A knock. Not a hard one, just deliberate. 3 knocks. He sat up. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. He waited, breath shallow. Nothing. Knock, knock, knock. This time from a different wall, near the fireplace downstairs. He grabbed his flashlight. The hallway seemed narrower in the dark. The staircase groaned beneath him. When he reached the bottom, the room was empty. But now, the air felt different, thicker, like he had walked into water. He turned the light toward the fireplace, and then he saw them. Footprints, muddy, fresh, leading from the back door into the living room. He spun around. Nothing. The door was locked. Still. He checked the windows. Each one bolted shut. So where did the footprints come from? Ethan's pulse quickened. He followed them, step by step, through the living room, past the hallway, and they ended in the middle of the floor. No return trail, just Gone. Music shifts, lower, deeper, barely audible tones. The rest of the night was quiet, too quiet. Ethan stayed on the couch, flashlight in hand, staring at the door. At 3:15 a.m., he heard it again. A soft laugh, a girl's laugh, from the forest. He didn't sleep. At dawn, he stepped outside, half hoping the fresh air would prove it had all been a dream. The mist hung low. Trees reached toward the sky like frozen arms. And there, in the dirt near the cabin's back wall, were tiny handprints. They trailed along the siding and stopped just beneath his bedroom window. Ethan spent the day pretending the night before didn't happen. He cooked, read a book, even chopped some firewood just to stay busy. But no matter how loud the axe cracked through the wood, he couldn't silence the memory of that soft laugh beneath his window. As night fell again, a pressure returned to the air, like the forest itself was watching him. He checked the windows, locked. The doors, bolted. Yet just after 11 p.m., a sound pierced the silence. A whisper inside the cabin. Ethan. It wasn't angry or urgent, just familiar. He spun around. No one. Then again, Ethan, coming from upstairs, from his room. He grabbed the flashlight, heart racing, and climbed slowly. Every step on the stairs creaked louder than it should. He pushed the door to his room open, slowly. Nothing but shadows and still air. But the mirror was fogged, like someone had just breathed on it. He stepped forward, and the closet door clicked. It opened an inch on its own. He stared. Then it slammed shut with a bang. He backed away, tripping over his bag, barely catching himself. The lamp flickered violently, then popped, glass bursting as the room went black. He didn't sleep that night either. By morning, Ethan was pale, silent. The forest outside seemed thicker now, trees closer than before. He considered leaving. But his phone still had no signal, and the dirt road was now wet from an early rain. His small car wouldn't make it. That afternoon, he decided to distract himself by exploring the attic. He had noticed the ceiling hatch, but hadn't opened it. Pulling the cord, a wooden ladder creaked down. Dust rained. He climbed slowly, coughing. The attic was dim and cold, a single window covered in grime. Among the junk and broken furniture, something stood out, a wooden box. Handmade, unlabeled. Inside it, a child's drawing of the cabin with shadowy figures in the windows. A small porcelain doll with one eye missing, and a bundle of cassette tapes wrapped in twine. One was labeled, "Don't listen after midnight." Ethan took the box downstairs. As night fell, he sat beside the fireplace and played the tape. It crackled. Then a voice. Male. The thing in the walls. That night the walls began to breathe. Ethan heard it clearly. A slow, rhythmic in-out, like lungs expanding behind the wood. He pressed his ear to the wall and, scratching, faint but constant, like fingernails against stone, he pounded the wall. Stop! And it did. But as he stepped back, the lights cut out. He stood frozen in total blackness. Then, footsteps. Inside the cabin. Not above, not below, behind him. He turned. Nothing. Then the fireplace lit by itself. No sound, just ignition. On the wall above it, something was carved. "You shouldn't be here." He rushed outside into the freezing air, panting. But what he saw made his stomach drop. All the windows of the cabin were glowing with silhouette. The next day, Ethan broke down. He screamed into the trees, begging for someone, anyone, to find him. He opened the basement. He had to know. The door groaned open. A stench hit him. Old mold and something rotten. He descended the stairs, flashlight in hand, each creak sounding like a scream. The room was large, dirt floor, stone walls, chains, and in the far corner, a mirror. Not dusty like the rest, polished, clean, facing outward. He walked toward it, and in its reflection, he saw the cabin behind him burning. But when he turned, the cabin was normal. Then something moved in the mirror. A shadow stepped into view, but it wasn't him. It was taller, thinner, too long, too pale. Its face, his face, stretched and smiling. He ran. Ethan packed that night. Didn't care if the road was wet. As he reached for his keys, they were gone. The back door, nailed shut. The front, locked from the outside. The forest whispered louder now, like it was celebrating. He smashed a window and jumped out, cutting his arm. But he ran, through the trees, through fog, through whispers calling his name with his voice. After an hour of blind panic, he found the road. A truck passed. He screamed, waved. It stopped. He was safe. Weeks passed. He returned to the city, to light, to noise. He never spoke of it until the dreams began. He'd wake in sweat, whispering to himself. He'd hear soft knocks from inside the walls, and sometimes in dark reflections, bathroom tiles, phone screens, window glass, he sees a second version of himself, watching, smiling, waiting to come back.